Can I make a wooden football place kicker toy? The question is, will he be Tom Dempsey or Ray Finkel?
I ripped some 1/2 inch thick poplar to 3 inches wide. Then I cut 3 pieces at 4 3/4 inches long, 2 pieces at 2 1/2 inches long, 2 pieces at 2 inches long, and 2 pieces at 4 inches long. One of the 4-inch pieces is ripped for the kicking side leg. The 3 4 3/4 inch pieces are clamped together and a 5/8 inch hole is drilled through all of them. The 2 2-inch pieces are taped together and a 3/8 inch hole is drilled through both of them at 3/4 inches from the front and bottom. The 2 2 1/2 inch pieces are glued and tacked to one of the 3 3/4 inch pieces. The 2-inch pieces are attached to another of the 3 3/4 inch pieces. The last 3 3/4 inch piece is glued and tacked to the 2 1/2 inch pieces, and using a 5/8 inch dowel to align, 2 of the 3 3/4 inch pieces are attached face to face. The pivot dowel is placed at the 3/8 inch hole for reference, and the non-kicking leg is aligned to it, glued and tacked. The wider portion of the kicking leg is attached to the back on the opposite side. The large linkage for the kicking mechanism is cut from 1/2 inch plywood. A 3/8 inch hole is drilled for the pivot dowel, and a 3/16 inch hole is drilled for the machine screw. A 5/8 inch hole is drilled halfway through the plywood over the machine screw hole for the screw head to reside. I inserted the pivot dowel through the linkage and glued the kicking portion of the leg to it. It was reinforced with screws later. I took some 1/8 inch thick scrap that I had, cut it to 1 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and drilled 2 holes for the machine screws. In order to get the holes in the 5/8 inch dowel on perpendicular planes, I hot glued some scrap wood to hold them before drilling. Using washers and a lock nut, I fastened the small linkage to the large linkage. I added a spring that goes around the dowel. The dowel was fastened to the small linkage with another machine screw, using washers and a nut for spacing, and secured with another lock nut. I put the dowel pin on top of the spring and inserted screws on each end of the pivot dowel to attach the large linkage to the pivot. Two triangles were glued to the legs for feet. For the helmet, I glue up some 3/4 inch thick stock, trimmed to size, and cut the shape with hand saws and a rounding bit. I cut some 1/8 inch plywood for the front and back. I cut a slot for the kicking mechanism in the front. And glue it. I attach the back with screws so I can keep the parts accessible for repairs. I trim them flush with the rest of the body. I made some 1-inch stock, rounded one side, and cut out shoulder pads, arms, and hands. I glued them to the body. The base is sliced into 3 parts. The middle part is cut off to make the T. The other pieces are glued to some plywood and trimmed to size. A shallow hole is drilled in the remaining piece for a T. I cut an angle off the bottom of the T to avoid the glue squeeze out in the gap. The kicker is attached to the base with screws. I show off my total lack of painting skills.
Mission childhood nostalgia accomplished, more or less. I'm going to have a second video showing how to make a quick goalpost, plus some footage of the kicker in action. If you would like to build your own football kicker, and that's American football, I'll have a SketchUp file at my website. For free even, but you do get what you pay for. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. That way you won't miss any future videos. You can join an exclusive club if you like my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter. I post project previews, silly nonsense, and interesting articles, not necessarily in that order. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you didn't enjoy this video, please share it with someone who never puts the voices out.